Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are taking a deeply fascinating, honestly kind of mind-bending concept and breaking it down so you can truly wrap your head around it. But to kick things off, I want you to do something very physical for me. Seriously, wherever you are right now, I want you to literally hold up your hand and look closely at it. Go ahead, look directly at your own hand right now. So, ask yourself, how many fingers do you see? Go ahead and count them. You can see them perfectly clearly, right? If you press them against your palm, you can feel them. You have this absolute, unshakable certainty that they are right there in front of you. I mean, it's the very baseline of your physical reality. But you really shouldn't be so certain. Because here is the unsettling punchline. From inside your own head, you can't actually prove a single one of those fingers is real. No way. The same goes for the hand they're attached to or the room around you that feels like it's just, well, there, whether you look at it or not. Try to find just one piece of absolute, undeniable evidence that what you are experiencing is real and not some flawless imitation. You simply won't be able to do it.
Section 1. The picture in your head.
Okay, let's dive into this. The reason why you can't prove your reality is actually a lot stranger than it sounds. It all comes down to the biological reality of how your brain translates the world. See, the process is entirely mechanical. Light hits your eyes, and your brain turns it into color and shape. Physical pressure lands on your skin, and it becomes the feeling of touch. Air vibrates, and you call it sound. Your brain takes these raw, silent, completely dark physical signals and basically builds a picture out of them. That constructed picture is the only world you will ever actually meet. You have never, not once, touched reality directly. You only ever touch your brain's version of it. Philosophers actually have a great name for this. It's called the egocentric predicament. Because the only thing you can ever inspect is that picture in your head, you have absolutely no way to step outside of it to hold it up against the real thing. There's no door. You are sealed in. The final stop for every sight and sound is you, sitting alone inside your skull, and from the inside, a perfect fake and the real thing look exactly the same. Section 2. Dreams, Demons, and Vats.
Now, this inescapable doubt isn't just some modern thought experiment. It has haunted human beings for centuries. And actually, you've already lived through a version of it yourself. Think about what happens when you go to sleep. When you dream, all of it feels completely 100% real while you're inside it, right? You experience visceral, terrifying things, like trying to run but your legs feel like they're moving through wet cement, or falling endlessly with absolutely no ground to catch you, or, feeling your teeth crumble and fall out one by one. And while this is happening, you never once stop to think, this is strange. Inside the dream, that is just how the world is. If you try to pinch yourself to check if it's a dream, well, the dream just produces the pinch. You can't test your way out of it because every single test is made of the exact same dream.
So, what world are you measuring your current waking reality against? Thinkers have been escalating this exact problem for a really long time. 400 years ago, René Descartes imagined an evil demon devoted entirely to deceiving his senses. Fast forward to 1981, Hilary Putnam updated this to a brain floating in a vat of fluid, wired up to a computer, feeding it electrical signals identical to a real life. That brain would feel a whole childhood, a hometown, with no way to ever discover the tank. And by 2003, Nick Bostrom brought this whole concept right into the digital age with a simulation argument. Section 3. Are you a simulation? And this brilliantly illustrates a massive shift. For most of history, this was just abstract philosophy because, well, nobody could actually build the machine. But today, it's a mathematical threat. Consider the number 100 trillion. That is roughly the number of connections your brain runs on, firing in all these intricate patterns. It's an enormous number, absolutely, but it is not infinite. A mind might actually be a finite thing to compute. If you build a machine big enough, you'd have room to run not just one simulated mind, but billions of them, all at once. So the crucial point here is this. If a civilization ever gets advanced enough to simulate conscious minds, they aren't going to run that simulation just once. They'll run it millions of times, maybe for fun, like a video game, or to study their own past. And every single one of those simulated worlds would be packed with people completely sure that they are real. If that happens, the math simply does not flatter you. Simulated minds would outnumber flesh and blood minds by 1 billion to 1. Statistically speaking, the odds say you are simulated. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how this applies to everyone else around you. You assume the people around you feel things the exact same way you do, but you have never once felt anyone else's experience. Philosophers describe a creature called a philosophical zombie. Now, it walks, it talks, and it flinches when it stubs its toe. From the outside, it is a flawless human. But inside, the lights are off. Nothing is being felt. And the truly unsettling part is no test could ever tell a zombie apart from a real person because their outward behavior is identical. The philosopher David Chalmers calls this the hard problem of consciousness. We can map out exactly which neurons fire in your brain when you see the color red, but we can't explain why that firing comes wrapped in the vibrant, subjective experience of redness instead of just happening silently in the dark like the rest of the universe. If we can't explain how a biological brain produces experience, we can't be sure that only brains can do it. A powerful computer might be able to do it too. That is the ultimate loophole a simulation would need. Section 4. Glitches in the system. But wait, it gets weirder. If we are in a simulation, wouldn't there be bugs in the code? Some scientists are actually looking at the universe like it's software. Look at the physical limits of our universe. Reality seems to have a smallest possible size, a scale below which distance stops meaning anything. It acts exactly the way an image stops making sense once you zoom in past its pixels. Then there's the speed of light. It behaves way less like a natural physical law and more like a hard ceiling, literally the exact kind of processing cap a programmer would write into a system to stop it from overloading. A physicist named James Gates even found equations buried in the math of the universe that look identical to error-correcting computer code. Now, none of this is definitive proof, for sure, but once you hear it, you kind of can't unhear it.
So step all the way back and try to find the absolute bottom of your reality. It's like a giant puzzle. Every belief you hold is just propped up by another. You trust your senses because they've worked before. You believe they worked before because you trust your memory. And you lean on that memory because, well, so far it has felt reliable. Each rung of belief just hangs off the one above it.
And when you finally climb to the top of that ladder, there is nothing holding the whole thing up. A German philosopher named Hans Albert called this the Munchausen trilemma. Basically, proving your own reality from the inside is logically impossible. It's named after this old folktale about a man who fell into a swamp and tried to haul himself out by yanking upward on his own hair. That is exactly what it's like trying to prove your reality from the inside. Nobody can prove you are real, and nobody can prove you aren't. The question just sits there, permanently open. Section 5. Choosing to be real. So if we can't prove reality, what do we actually do with all this existential dread? How do we go about our lives knowing the floor beneath our feet might just be a mathematical illusion? Well, the mathematician Martin Gardner was once asked how he lived with this unanswerable question, and his answer is just profoundly grounding. He said, "I chose to believe the world is real because that belief is healthier and it works. It is a pragmatic, active choice. Honestly, it might be the most honest answer anyone has ever given to this problem. You will never get to touch reality bare. You're stuck working from a picture you can't verify. But Gardner's point is that the choice to believe in it, that's entirely yours. Because here is what we do know for sure. The warmth of the person sitting beside you, that still feels like warmth. The questions we're asking today, they still feel worth asking. Whether the ground beneath you is made of solid rock or just running lines of code, you are the one standing on it. You are the one getting to wonder about any of this at all. There is exactly one thing in here that no demon, no vat, and no supercomputer can ever take away from you. The absolute, undeniable fact that something, right now, is being experienced. Whatever this reality is, you're in it. That part is actually happening. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. If your subjective experience is the only unquestionable truth in the entire universe, what will you choose to do with it today? You might as well be fully here for it. Thanks for joining me to explore this, and keep asking the big questions.